Eldon Powless is a chef of the Oneida Nation in Wisconsin. He's making lunch at Ukwakhwa, or Our Food's Kitchen on the Oneida Reservation near Green Bay.
Here I get to just do what I want. They're just like, as long as it tastes good and it's nutritious, go ahead.
He says his Northern Comfort Bowl is an Indigenous take on Southern comfort food.
I wanted to do like a little twist on that and use wild rice and use the beans that we have and whatever we have available local.
Ukwakhwa isn't a restaurant, but Powless is their guest chef for this week's meal. He says he uses some heirloom Indigenous foods that are harvested on their farm, the Oneida way.
I try to incorporate whatever we can get locally.
His recipe of diced celery, onions, carrots, and locally sourced wild rice are added to a buttercream sauce with roasted corn. Black beans simmer in braised smoked ham hocks on the side.
All right, these last ones, Steve?
Yeah.
Stephen Webster is director of farm and culinary operations at Ukwakhwa. He says their From Seed to Table grant with the Wisconsin Partnership Program subsidizes sales of hot lunches made by Indigenous chefs to restore wellness to their diets.
They get a stipend, they cook about 80 to 100 meals for the community. The community then puts in orders, how many we want, and then we pretty much disperse those meals throughout the community.
Webster says their grant program offers community members meals rooted in ancestral knowledge for modern living, integrating traditional ingredients like corn and beans with contemporary cuisine.
The goal of this was to try to expand people's palates.
The grant also subsidizes hands-on meal preparation workshops using products harvested on the reservation.
We've had people make maple seed cookies, which blows my mind sometimes, where there was no gluten in it.
Webster says in this first year, the program is meeting its goals.
We did 1,393 meals just through the hot meal noon program. And then we did another 80-some meals through the meal prep class I talked about.
Webster says meals like the Northern Comfort Bowl would cost about $30 each in local restaurants. But Ukwakhwa is able to offer it here for $13 to the Oneida community due to the reduced pricing by the grant. Webster says he hopes to continue the same pricing when funding ends.
But now I feel like we're much stronger from a logistics standpoint to take on this stuff in the future.
Webster says both food programs help the Oneida community reconnect to their Indigenous foodways from a time when their ancestors were relocated from New York to Wisconsin in the early 1800s.
When they came here, again, they were following Christian missionaries, but there were still people who practice our traditions, our language, and all that other stuff. And a lot of those seeds came with them as well.
What did they tell you about Indigenous cultivation?
The biggest one that most people are aware of is companion planting, the Three Sisters style of planting.
He says maintaining Oneida's agricultural methods of planting varieties of corn, beans, and seeds next to each other is a balancing act of traditional and modern farming.
For 2 or 3 people like me and my wife to do it, we have to use a tractor, we have to do this stuff, but we still make it a point to hand plant and hand weed and so forth to keep those traditions alive.
Twice a month, the Ukwakhwa team delivers their culturally relevant meals to 7 different drop-off sites along the Oneida Tribal Department's route. Webster and the Ukwakhwa staff and volunteers packed up his truck with dozens of hot and ready pre-ordered meals prepared by that week's chef.
Hello there.
Hi.
You gonna buy one?
All right.
Tony House picked up her 3 meals at the Ukwakhwa farm, reflecting on her childhood memories of food insecurity from colonization.
I remember what it was like to be hungry as a child. And I remember thinking, how come people didn't hand me good foods?
She says the program will help younger children have an appetite and desire for healthy Indigenous meals.
Nutrition, right here, impacts 3 generations automatically. Scientifically, we know that now.
Back in the Ukwakhwa kitchen, Powless says traditional Indigenous ingredients can be cooked with love and risk while exploring new recipes.
You don't have to be super traditional and make it a certain way. You can incorporate it however you would like.
Webster says From Seed to Table incorporates the past
Make sure that we kind of like go back as much as we can
for a healthier diet in the future.
to what maybe our ancestors were eating to help combat some of that and address some of that.
From the homelands of Oneida in Wisconsin, I'm Erica Isi for ICT.